Donald Trump just spoke as court wrapped for the day. Here's what he said.
Well, we just heard 2 to 3 more weeks. I thought they were finished today. And they are finished today if you look at what's happening. I thought they were going to be finished today, and they want 2 to 3 more weeks. The judge asked them, and playing right into the judge's hands. The judge is so happy about 2 to 3 more weeks because they all want to keep me off the campaign trail. That's all this is about. This is about election interference. How do we stop it?
All right, just an excerpt from Mr. Trump's remarks after court adjourned today. Let's bring in CNN's Daniel Dale. He's fact-checking what we just heard from Mr. Trump. Daniel, anything jump out at you?
Well, Jake, I obviously can't definitively fact-check what Mr. Trump thought would be the timeline for the trial, but I can say there's no basis for thinking the prosecution case would be done today. You know, all coverage, including ours, has emphasized that Michael Cohen is likely to be a key witness, that he's likely to take a while to do his testimony. Well, we haven't heard from him yet. There's an extensive witness list. Of course, not everyone will be called, but the prosecution is not near done it. So him saying he thought it was going to be done today, I think is a curious statement at best. And I'll add there's a couple things he said in comments after court that we haven't played yet that were just not true. He said he's leading in every poll. He's not leading in every poll. He's leading in many polls, but we've had a couple polls in recent days from ABC, from TIPP, in which he's trailing. He also claimed that the FEC, the Federal Election Commission, not only tossed out this matter, but said, you got to be kidding me with this. That's not what happened. In fact, the FEC, as often with the FEC, was deadlocked. It's divided between Republican and Democratic appointed commissioners. The Democratic ones voted to proceed. The Republican ones voted against it, so it was dropped. They didn't say it was absurd or ridiculous.
Interesting stuff. You know, Daniel, I always like your fact checks. I also like it when you find comments curious.
Thanks, Jake. I'll continue to try to do so.
It's a new zone of fact checking.
I'm expanding my repertoire.
Yeah, no, I find that curious, but it's you're an honest man. You can't fact check it. All right, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Let's bring in Hogan Gidley. He served as deputy press secretary in the Trump White House. Good to see you, Hogan. As we await more key witnesses to take the stand this week, I want to talk about testimony from former top Trump advisor Hope Hicks, because she mentioned you once in testimony. A prosecutor read a statement given to the Wall Street Journal about whether Trump had been aware of a payment to Stormy Daniels, also known as Stephanie Clifford. That article reads, quote, "These are old recycled reports which were published and strongly denied prior to the election," a White House official said, responding to the allegation of a sexual encounter involving Mr. Trump and Ms. Clifford. The official declined to respond to questions about an agreement with Ms. Clifford. It isn't known whether Mr. Trump was aware of any agreement or payment involving her. That's the Wall Street Journal, January 12, 2018. Now, court transcripts show that Hope Hicks was asked if she's the one that gave the statement. She said, quote, "No, I'm not." The prosecutor says, "Who was the White House official quoted in the story?" Hope Hicks said, "I can't say for sure. I can't say for sure, but I think that it was Hogan Gidley. He was the deputy press secretary," unquote. Was it you? I don't know if you have any memory of that. And what did you make of this moment, your name coming up in the trial?
Nothing like being name-checked in this trial. In fact, I got a lot of texts from reporters saying, "Hey, man, this is the first time you've been name-checked. Get ready. You're going to be pulled into this somehow, some way." So it kind of made me chuckle a little bit. And honestly, I don't even remember that situation or that comment. I'm not afraid to stand up and say if I said it, I'm the one who did it, of course. But I don't remember that. But it's always kind of funny to watch these things kind of bleed out of the courtroom and kind of encapsulate other people. So no big deal, no harm, no foul, but it's just kind of funny.
Are you still in touch with Hope Hicks?
Oh, yeah, we talk and text pretty regularly. I kind of was reading through some of the transcripts that she with what she said in the courtroom, just vintage Hope, saying that Cohen liked to refer to himself as the fixer, but he was the one who usually broke it. I just had to chuckle at some of those comments she made, obviously saying that this was to protect Donald Trump's wife, clearly, which I think really hurt the prosecution's case, bringing her up in that way. And just knowing her the way I do, I can imagine how gut-wrenching this is for her. Someone who served in the White House, who always had Donald Trump's best interests at heart. Then she kind of goes into private life, doing what she wants to do personally, professionally, and then kind of gets pulled back into these types of things. And you saw kind of where her heart is on these matters when she broke down in tears. I think they had to even take a recess because of it. So she's a great person, and I hate the fact that these slime balls are trying to bring her into this whole process.
Have you talked to her since she had that moment where she broke down? They had to take I think a 10-minute recess. Have you talked to her? Is she doing okay? Obviously, she's very loyal to Mr. Trump still. I'm sure that wasn't pleasant to do.
No, it wasn't, and I haven't spoken with her, but it's going to take a lot more than this, sham, hoax, ridiculous trial to hurt Hope Hicks. I mean, she obviously faced some of the toughest fires we all did in that White House and that administration, doing one of the most high pressure, highly consequential jobs on the face of the planet, and she handled herself really well. A lot of people went to her, obviously. Whenever they wanted to talk to Trump, they went to her first because they clearly understood her wisdom and knowledge on how to deal with him, but also on matters with public relations and how to deal with the press and other things. So she was a constant in that White House, did a great job, and I just hate this kind of stuff for her.
Today, Judge Merchan found President Trump, in contempt for the 10th time he has violated Merchan's gag order. Here's what Trump said on Real America's Voices radio that the judge said violated his gag order by talking about the jury. Take a listen.
He's rushing the trial like crazy. Nobody's ever seen a thing go like this. That jury was picked so fast. 95% Democrats. The area is mostly all Democrat. You think of it as just a purely Democrat area. It's a very unfair situation, that I can tell you.
So I know it's difficult to get any primary, let alone Mr. Trump, to take advice in terms of what he should say or should not say. But would you advise him to be more careful about talking about the jury or witnesses?
Well, first things first. I mean, he's obviously right. We know the judge's payments to Joe Biden and political contributions. We know the history of his daughter and the way she's making money. Millions of dollars for Democrat candidates, clearly against Donald Trump. That's all part and parcel kind of with where Donald Trump is mentally here. And when he comes out and makes those statements, it's obvious the judge is biased. And this gag order, really, as I understand it, attorneys tell me they're designed to protect the defendant against what the prosecution may say publicly. So it's unconstitutional from the standpoint of Donald Trump doesn't get to defend himself, but of course they can attack him. And you see that kind of manifest itself too with someone like Michael Cohen. On your air today, and I've been watching all day, people have been saying that, quite frankly, they haven't made the case against Donald Trump here, that they can't prove he violated the law, and they're hinging the entire case on someone who's unhinged. I mean, have you seen this guy's TikTok videos lately? I mean, I have more confidence in the future of Britney Spears, who dances around with knives, than Michael Cohen. He's got some serious problems, and I don't think he's going to do well on that witness stand, especially considering he's a convicted liar. He's gone to jail, for heaven's sake. So I think the road is bright for Donald Trump at this point, despite the odds being stacked against him, despite the fact this judge is against him and it's a weaponized system against someone they just disagree with politically. But should he be saying these things publicly? Look, that's up to him and his attorneys. But I'll tell you this, as you know, Donald Trump is a counterpuncher, and he's not going to be silent when he feels like he's being wronged.
The only thing I'm going to say, and that was a lot. I don't have TikTok anymore, but because of the national security threat from China. But I appreciate you're younger, so it makes more sense.
But you can still watch them.
Okay. Well, in any case, Bill Brennan, is a former Trump attorney, has said that Judge Merchan is a fair and honorable, decent man, and that's all I'm going to say in response to what you said.
Well, that's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm saying. I mean,
you're saying he's biased. He has a political. He is a little.
Least.
Yeah, you're saying he has a political bias, and his daughter works for Democrats.
Sure.
The daughter part is just factual.
Well, and he himself donated to Biden and voted for him. So look, that's fine. But as a judge, you don't want any perception or any thought process. You would want to say, all right, look, I get it. I know I can be fair, but just to protect my family, to protect my own name, to protect the court and the proceeding, I would step back. But this guy, no way. I think he's kind of drunk on the thought of being the toast of the town and being invited to all the cocktail parties, because that's a tough drug to get rid of. I can promise you that.
Okay. Hogan Gidley, it's always good to see you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.